Hi, I'm Sheri Vegas, and today I'm doing a book review on some of my favourite makeup books. I'm going to be doing this in 3 parts because I've got so many makeup books they're not going to fit into one. So the first makeup book I'm reviewing is Period Makeup. I really like this book as a reference book. The pictures and the makeup's not that great, and how they apply the makeup's a bit old school, but if you're into film or television, it's great for a reference because it literally goes from Imperial Russia to like Paris, France, like the Moulin Rouge sort of era, to ancient Greece, to then Egypt, so it really covers everything. Because if you've ever studied makeup, you get taught 1920s, 30s, all the way up to like 2000. And that doesn't cover an awful lot because you get taught basics. This covers like what it's like in the 1920s in Australia to what it's like in the 1920s in France, which is completely different. So I really love this book for that. They even have a little section where it covers equipment that you're going to need. So to complete any of these looks. So it's a very basic special effects book, but it's great for reference. I really like the fact that it has, like it goes from prehistoric age, it goes to ancient Egypt, to Greece, to the Mayas, like really in depth on that part. And there's Imperial Russian makeup, shows you how to apply step by step. Makeup's not that fabulous, but just the fact that it covers everything, like Victorian colonial. So, great reference book, but makeup could be improved on it. My next book is Bobbi Brown's Makeup Manual. I have received this book so many times. I used to work with Bobbi Brown, and every time you go to a training or update or whatever, you get this book. So I have had like 5 copies, which I've all given away except for this one. This one is by far her best book. I do not like any of her other books. I find them too basic, especially if you're a makeup artist. But if you're starting out or if you're a makeup enthusiast, perfect book for you. It is also handy for a makeup artist on the knowledge side of things because she does go in depth on industry and just how to be an artist, how to act. Really good for that part. I do like the fact that she does talk a lot about skin and like sort of healthy eating lifestyle, and she also goes like really in depth about skin types and what is skin and like the epidermis and the dermis, and so that's incredibly important for a makeup artist to know, anyone that's really into that, because that way when you're talking to your clients or you get a client with bad skin, you can really, you know what you're talking about. I do love the fact that it has that. It also has a tool section. And I do like the fact that she does talk about makeup and she does talk about products, but she doesn't mention any of her products in it. So she doesn't go, because she has a section in here, it's all about what you need in your kit, and she doesn't go Bobbi Brown blush. She says cream blush, powder blushes, explains the difference. So I do really like that. I do find her sort of eye techniques and her makeup's really basic and really easy. Not what I would do on a client. But she does have some really good points in here. So for the first part of the book, it's really simple. I do like her colour correcting. She's really spot on about correctors underneath the eyes. And she talks about diverse beauty. So Bobbi Brown, if no one knows, she's really known for skin. And she's really known for skin tone matching foundations for every skin type. So she is like kind of, I guess, the brand to go for if you're after that. Then she gets to artistry, which some of the stuff's, you know, a bit old school, but some of it's like really cool. So like how she finds inspiration, she goes into business, how you should act as a makeup artist, what's expected of you, the do's and don'ts, how to promote yourself. So yeah, there's the essentials for a professional. So she does start to get a bit more in depth. I don't find any of her like creative makeup mind-blowing or like blown away. I find it's okay, but if you like how she talks about makeup for lighting, how to work with different photographers, makeup for magazines, so she does, you know, talk about a few different things, but then again, makeup's not spectacular, but for business and knowledge side of this, it's a really good book to have. And I do like how she talks about skincare and makeup, because that's really important. So she talks about makeup for television. She also talks about career options. So if you're a makeup artist, where can your career take you? So TV, film, working on counters, working in fashion. So much. She talks about what it's like to work on a fashion show and working with celebrities. She then goes through the history of makeup, which is really cool. So she talks about all the way from like before Christ, what happens with makeup. So that part is super in depth, and I really do like that part. She talks about like the who's who in makeup. So you know, she talks about how Estee Lauder got started, how you know, some Elizabeth Arden and Coco Chanel, they're all just one person that started these massive empires. So that part of the book is really good. I don't recommend any of her other books, but if you're a makeup artist and you just want the knowledge side, that's a good book to have. My next book is Complete Guide to Special Effects. It's a Japanese book, special effects makeup. I like this book because it goes from super basic special effects to like the more detailed special effects. I particularly like that, like Thorn sort of rose monster. It teaches you how to do prosthetics, how to cast, how to mold, how to do like basic things like scars and cuts, to how to fabricate, like there's a how to fabricate hands, how to fabricate teeth, how to make, like there's headpieces, there's so much, like it's really cool. Like it goes from absolute basics like how to mix your mediums together to how to like apply like full monsters and costumes, and incredibly cool about like teeth and stuff. So that, I do like this book because it has a lot of pictures as well as a lot of context. So if you're a creative person like me and you have trouble sitting just reading about it, the pictures are really helpful. So I definitely recommend that if you're into special effects or like film or fantasy. My next book is by one of my favourite makeup artists. She's an Australian makeup artist. Her name's Rae Morris, and she's been doing it for quite a few years. I've had the pleasure of meeting her quite a few times, and she's absolutely lovely. This is one of my favourite books that she's done. She's got amazing books on the photography, and it's breathtaking. So I definitely do recommend getting all of her books. This is her ultimate guide. I like because it goes from basics like skincare, what you should have in your kit, like, and the imagery is like absolutely beautiful the way it's laid out. And then she goes to like brushes and what brushes are for what. She goes to eye tones, eyebrows, like shapes of eyebrows. And then she goes to like lashes, like what the effects different lashes have. And it's a really in-depth, her books. So that's always like just crazy amount of like text that she has as well as pictures. So if you really want to master something or really learn perfect basics, this is the book to have. Then she goes into makeup application and she does like step by step on each look, which is really cool. I love her, she does a 40 plus makeup section in this book, and the makeup she does is fabulous because it's not boring, it's fun, the women look amazing, and she talks about, you know, where you should apply certain products because it changes completely. She talks about contour and how it should be applied the right way. Her skin is flawless, like the imagery is beautiful, like she's got absolutely amazing, this is an amazing book to own. I look back at this book constantly. And then she's got her own images, so if you don't know her, pop on her website too because she's fantastic. I love her. My next book is Makeup is Art. I think nearly every makeup artist knows this book. It's a cult classic. It's done by Makeup Academy over in America, and so they do mention a little bit about their academy and the tools and stuff that they use. This book alone, if you just want it for pretty pictures, phenomenal. It does go through your skincare, it goes through like prepping the skin, you know, everything like that. It goes into contour and blushes, so it goes from like really beginner to more advanced. Like the pictures in this are just phenomenal. I look back at this book just at the pictures for a lot of the time, just for inspiration. talks about fake eyelashes, how to apply. It's got some really cool makeup looks in this book. This is the second release. I did originally own the first release of this book and it had a different cover. It was one with like jewels and stuff on it, but that's gone missing, so I had to rebuy it. The only thing that I don't like is the fact that there's some stuff missing from the first book and they've changed a few of the editorials around it. I'm not as keen on the editorials that they've added in. They do period looks, so it's more period for like fashion than period for stage or theatre, because they're not exactly perfect as like what you would actually expect to see, but they're great. Like, so if you ever had like to do a shoot and they're like, I want you to do a 1920s-esque look on this shoot, then you could definitely use this as inspiration, but I wouldn't use it as a reference for movies. It then talks about like working on editorial, working with other creatives, how to work. This is one of my favourite images. Talks about working on runway, backstage etiquette, just like what you do on the day, catwalk backstage. Talks about brushes. There's a glitter section, a body art section. So it really does cover quite a lot in this book, and I really do like it, and I wish they would bring out a second one. My next book is Miles of Mac. This is literally just a picture book. There is not many words in this, but it's great for inspiration. If you're a photographer, a hairstylist, a makeup artist, a stylist, anything creative, or just love looking at pretty pictures, it's some of their most popular campaigns, and it goes back quite a few years. It's absolutely fabulous. I know a photographer that bought this because she does beauty shoots, and it's just a great inspiration for her. You can open literally to like any page in this book and you'll get something like absolutely phenomenal. And they do give like, they have a few cool like I guess quotes in here. They've got like Val Garland, Charlotte Tilbury, Alex Boxer's makeup in here. But literally, I just like to flick through it for all the pretty pictures. And then at the back, they have all of them, just so if you wanted to get to a page fast, there you go. Okay, so my next one is Stories by W Magazine. This is just all of their editorials, or their favourite editorials. It doesn't really have any makeup content into it, but they're just like inspiration shots. So it's very similar to kind of like Miles from MAC. I love it because it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight to how people work at the top of their game. Some of my favourite editorials. This one, For the Ages. So it gives you a little bit of a mood board and then a little bit of like sort of the thinking process behind it, like how they got started, what was the original inspiration. And then this one I love because basically the photographer wanted to get a gorgeously stunning famous model and age her, and which is quite unusual because normally models are meant to be perfect. So like absolutely spectacular. And then they age her all the way up to 110. And like the makeup artist that's done this is just amazing. I do love W Magazine because they always kind of take a bit of a risk. Another one of my favourites in this book is Good Cake, Bad Cake. So once again you get a little bit of an inspiration board, and then about like, you know, how they sort of set upon the idea. So it kind of gives you a little bit of insight about how like a big magazine works. And that is just like that makeup and styling and just everything is absolutely amazing. This is one of my favourite editorials. I like to just flip through this book to get ideas for makeups. Like, that is what it looks like when you're at the top of your game. So this is East of Eden. Once again, mood board and inspiration brief. This picture is just incredible. I can spend hours looking through this book. I bought most of these books online from Book Depository. They're really great if you're after makeup books, because makeup books are normally quite heavy and they have free postage, and they normally get to you within a week, so it's pretty good. And they've got quite a good, like, mass of books that you can find. This is Tim Walker. This is one of my favourite shoots of his. It's one of his, it's a mermaid that's kind of like out of water. But the inspiration is just phenomenal. Okay, so that was part 1 of my favourite makeup books. Make sure you stay tuned to my channel to see part 2. If you liked what you see, make sure you give a big thumbs up. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below. And also make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thank you.